Bubba Wallace is the story of the week. Look, the ebbs and flows of the day of the week are really interesting. So we started the show on Monday. We're getting ready to do the show, and all of a sudden there's this unbelievable display of solidarity by all of his competitors and his teammates in NASCAR. Why do they have to show solidarity? Well, that's because if you go back to Sunday, there were reports that there was a noose found in his garage. Okay, it was the 43 garage. 43, of course, is Richard Petty. He races for Richard Petty Racing. He's the only black driver full-time on the NASCAR circuit. And so when there's a noose, which, of course, coincides with the banning of the Confederate flag and some of the stereotypes that have followed NASCAR. And, of course, on Sunday, right before there was set to be a race, before the rain postponed it, there was a Confederate flag that flew on the back of a little airplane. Like, all of these things, like, really a noose. Monday, right now, at this very moment, and we're only at Thursday, and the old life comes at you fast. Monday, unbelievable show of solidarity. Tuesday, at about the same time, the FBI, who sent 15 investigators, reported that this was no hate crime and that the rope pull that was up had been up since 2019. So almost a year. October was the last race there, when apparently there was some photo or video evidence that it had not changed. That night, Bubba Wallace went on CNN. The next morning, he went on with Dan Patrick, and he was angry because people were starting to call the reports of a noose a hoax. And when you're told something's a noose and you're said it's absolutely a noose and you're black, and your reaction is going to be one of a million different things. But I think even though I'm not black and I can't, I can't put myself in Bubba's shoes, I do know I have a pretty good feeling what my reaction would be, because as a Jewish man, when I see, signs of Nazis, I have a similar visceral reaction where I'm both angry and afraid all at the same time. And you wonder who is friend, who is foe. I mean, the easiest parallel for me, and I'm not in any way trying to say I understand the black experience. I do not. Okay? You can say, like I do, I have plenty of black friends, but I do not understand the black experience because if you haven't lived it. On the other hand, I would also say they don't even understand the Jewish experience. Last year, at there was a high school party, the local high school that my daughter will attend this upcoming fall. There was some kids playing beer pong, which, by the way, look, I'm not going to tell you I didn't drink in high school. There was a couple times when I did drink, but never to the point of beer pong. Anyway, not getting to parenting there, but there were some, red Solo cups made into the swastika symbol in a beer pong game in my neighborhood, which feeds to our high school. So I'm not going to tell you I understand the black experience or totally know what Bubba Wallace was feeling, but I do know that feeling of, that's a sign of hatred. Right? Anyway. So Bubba didn't go on the apology tour, but he did finally put out a statement yesterday which said essentially, hey, I'm glad it wasn't a hate crime, but I'm even happier that NASCAR had my back. Today, the photo of the noose was released. Now, here's the thing. One, a noose is a knot, and it's a very useful and very sturdy type of slip knot, right? And why is a noose? Let's just, if you have the real conversation, if we can actually have a conversation, why is a noose used in hangings? because it's a knot that doesn't, it's a slip knot, means it will not slip out of the knot. And it's an extra sure slip knot. And when you have a rope and you want to make sure that it goes back not just to lynchings in the South, but in the West when the bad guys would get hung by the sheriffs, it can withstand the pressure of the weight of a human body. Right? It is a very powerful and very substantial knot. So when I read this, it makes me think of pretty much any political argument, many sports arguments. When we watch TV, we're told there's left and there's right. And look, this comes from political TV. Frankly, I believe the creator of it was Fox News. We are Fox Sports Radio. We are very loosely affiliated through the family of Fox. But the genius of Fox News, which has been remarkably successful in terms of ratings, is they, in their programming, pushed everyone to the fringes. And on TV, visually, the right was on the right and the left was on the left. And there were arguments which there was no middle. But the truth is usually in the middle. Most of us are more in the middle. The fringes are louder because they're trying to make their point and draw you to their side. But most of us are center left, center right. Most stories are not black and white. Most stories are gray. And nothing could emphasize that more, in my opinion, than what we now have with the Bubba Wallace story. By NASCAR saying that is, in fact, a noose, and seeing the picture of a noose, and the FBI saying it is a noose, it did hang from 2019, it just wasn't a noose designed, at least at this point, for Bubba Wallace to see. It's NASCAR saying, yes, you got me. I robbed banks, just not that bank. Which is why NASCAR had to make the statement about the Confederate flag, which is why NASCAR had to come out and be so emphatic with their immediate reaction to a noose being found on their property. Because of their history, and because even if this was a joke from 2019, whether it was for Bubba or for whoever occupied that garage, there has to be an added smart sensitivity and understanding that when you have this terrible past, and some of it, at least a portion of it, in your fan base, in your present, anything is going to be viewed along racial lines. Like I understand. I do. I'm a white male. I know that anytime I do not completely agree that something is racist, I am labeled now a racist, which couldn't be further from the truth. It's not fun. Okay? It's just not. That said, you also have to understand why Bubba felt the way Bubba felt. Because when you're a black man and you roll up into a garage and somebody says, hey, dude, I just wanted to let you know, a little heads up, there was a noose hanging in here. How would you react? Again, my only parallel is, as a Jewish guy, growing up in Orange County and the high school my daughter's going to go to, and I see some idiot high school kids playing beer pong with the Nazi swastika on the ping pong table, I have that same visceral, angry, and a little bit scared reaction. This is what I'm setting my daughter into? This is how they view me? This is how I'm treated. I know when you watch on TV, and all of these TV networks we've all taken on the exact same tact. Sports TV mirrors political TV, and the most successful of them is Fox News. And we pit right versus left. The truth in most arguments is somewhere in the middle. Give me an argument. Gun control. Okay? We're not going to ever have no guns, and we're not ever going to have a free-for-all. Somewhere in the middle. You can be a gun owner, and most gun owners there's got to be some sort of background checks and the ability to, There's this thought, well, if you're a felon, you can't have a gun. Or if you're a kid, you can't have a gun. Yes, but your friends can, and they're just so readily available, right? Most responsible gun owners don't think that everyone should have a gun. And most people who are against guns and don't want guns understand that, are you not going to have any for hunting? It's not realistic. Right? Not going to have any for personal protection? That's not realistic. Abortion, voting rights, all of these political things. The truth is in the middle. And that's the story here. Was there a noose? Yes. Was it some sort of racial intimidation? Was it a hate crime? No, at least not this time. Is there a lack of understanding, sensitivity based upon the history of NASCAR with the symbols that have been at racetracks? Yes. Was this the case here? No. Did some of the media overreact in either direction? Yes. Was it a hoax? Not really. It was a misunderstanding for all of us. And now that we get the story, we start to realize if we just take a breath and we just have conversations and we start to evolve as people, we'll be the better off because of it. Bubba's not a bad guy. Bubba did a bit of a victory lap. Bubba was feeling himself. He got a little bit of bad PR. But let's be honest. Bubba was told what he saw, what was seen, and based upon the picture, it's easy to make that leap, and you too would be angry. First news is not always the best news. Correct news is correct news. And the truth seemingly is almost always in the middle.